Gundam.tk presents Gundam Virsago. Hey again everybody, it's Robert184, 2Rs2Bs, Gundam.tk, GundamReviews.net, and today I'm excited to bring you a review of the high-grade 1/100th Gundam Virsago from the anime Gundam X. This was first on sale in 1996, and sells for 1,800 Japanese yen. When Gundam X was on the air, this was the high-grade line, which at the time was pretty good, and because it's the 90s, that means it's 1/100th scale, not the more familiar 1/144th, and this is the 4th in the series. Flipping through the 2010 Gundam Bible, you can see that after Gundam X came out, and then the Airmaster, and then the Leopard, that the Virsago was the 4th in the series, as I mentioned, and it looks like the Divider came out in the same month. That's going to be followed up by the upgrades to the Airmaster and the Leopard with its Destroy mode, before the DX came out in October, and don't forget the massive G-Falcon unit. In 1/144th, which was non-grade at the time, you can see that all the same kits came out, except the Virsago actually had an upgrade kit, which was the chest break version, and you can get both of these in 1/144th. This came out in December of 96, and yes, how cool would that be to have an Ashatron also in 1/100th? Sadly, that never happened. But then again, some of the kits, even like the Daughters and the Genius, those also were just limited releases, sadly. So with this Gundam being piloted by Shagia Frost, one of the main antagonists of Gundam X, it is really cool that at least we got his first one in 1/100th. It is the only bad guy in the line. Like I said, there's no Ashatron, and it's unfortunate that they don't have the chest break, because it doesn't look like there's all that many changes, besides the backpack and the chest, of course. But if you've played Gundam Extreme Versus, this guy can be a lot of fun to play. So anyway, to have him as a bad guy for my X and DX until they get a master grade, we can all dream this'll have to do. Boxed through now, where you can see that you're going to get a beam saber there, and he's got weapons in hands in addition to the weapons that are already attached onto his hands. You can see that the chest is going to have some clear parts there, it looks like, and some gold trim down there on the skirt. The legs are looking good. The head is a little too Epian-ish for me, but then again, he's going to have these stretchy out arms, which should be his best play feature. On the back, you can see that he's got a small set of wings there, nothing like the chest break, but they should do the job. Here's some information about the actual Gundam itself. There it is, high grade, 1/100th, sorry, not non-grade, from the TV anime, which was sadly cancelled too early, but still well worth watching through. Here you can see the Leopard, number 3 in the series, and the X Divider, which has also come out in high grade after war recently. So with all of his limbs folded up, everything looks okay, but it's from this picture that you really get to see the Virsago at its best. You can see that the arms are all stretched out there, and the chest is open with a giant laser coming out of his belly button. Wings open, this guy should be a lot of fun to display. In terms of the weapons, you're going to be getting the strike claws there, which can come out and cause a bunch of damage. You're going to have a beam saber, which is looking like a typical X1 with lots of little details added to it. You're going to have the claw beams there, and you can actually take these strike shooters and attach one of them into a hand or put them together and have some dual wielding ones. Ready to crack open the box. This has obviously been around the block, this old container. You're going to get the manual on the top, it looks like, some gold and a multicolored A-plate, seals, some black/navy blue, gray polycaps, gray inner frame, red, and that's it. To kick things off here, the B-plate is probably the most interesting B-plate I've ever seen on a Gundam, and that's because you'd look at this and say 4 colors, well that should be the A-plate. But in this case, the A-plate is boring, so I'm going to kick things off with this. First of all, as is familiar with most Gundam X fans, you're going to have a big beam saber there. It's actually looking pretty good. You only get the one, and you're also going to be getting the eyes and the camera lens actually done in clear green, so a nice bonus there. But the one that really caught my eye is in his chest, because you're actually going to have some clear orange parts. It's pretty cool to get a kit with 2 clear colors, and these orange parts are going to form the eyes of the chest weapon, as you will, and you can see that the chest weapon is going to be in there. You've got a very big Epian type head there, along with some parts for the waist armor, which takes us to the A1 plate, which is just ripped it off. You can see that it's just attached down here from the A2, and what you're going to get here is big wings, but if you're expecting anything fancy in terms of the wings, you're just going to have these 2 parts here and a couple on the other ones. But the most noticeable thing is going to be the chest, and it's going to be neat to see the way that you actually put the gold and orange in there, and then put this all together. A2 is going to give you the other few parts that are going to make up the wings, and some big black/navy blue parts for the bottom of the feet. Before moving on to 2 identical C-plates, you're going to have the 2, and you can just see that this kit was already designed back in the day to make good use of the molds. You might as well just make 1 mold and put in 2 colors. The unique red parts are going to come on this same color on the B plate. I've got to make sure not to call that the A plate. Big things to note here is there are lots of lines down here, not as bad as the old high grade 1/100th Wing Gundam, but certainly something that if you go ahead and line this all, it's going to look like a very different kit than if you just put it together and don't do any extra work. But the shoulders are going to look good, and that's because that's the Virsago's most famous feature, I suppose, outside of its chest. And it's cool because instead of focusing on the lining, they've actually got hollow parts there, which should look really good for the Monkey D. Luffy / Mr. Fantastic arms. Twin D plates here in light gray, and you're going to be getting the same color that you've already got on the B, in brackets A plate. But the most important thing is those extendable arms. You're going to have 2 parts on each of them there. You're going to have the knees, it looks like, and the additional weapons here, it's got the strike claws, although I haven't seen any of the gold that the package would indicate that it should have. But seeing this gold E plate really takes me back to the old high grade 1/100th Wing kits. And you'll notice that it's not gold there on the back, just mechy, or whatever you want to call it there on the front. In terms of the parts you're going to have for the strike claws, you're going to have 2 of them here that are going to form a pair, 2 for each arm, which means that for the other weapons, which is the strike shooters, I said that incorrectly earlier on, you're going to have this gray part here, and it looks like it's just going to be seals that make up the rest of the gold, which seems a little bit disappointing that if you've got something advertised with gold all over it, and you've already got a plate devoted to it, why not just add on a few more gold parts, and that would take care of that. However, on the plus side, you're going to be having this V-fin, and even though it should have some black in the middle, it's all gold all the way across. Very different from a traditional Gundam yellow. There's not going to be any yellow on this kit whatsoever. But the one that really caught my eye is these strange shaped ones, which are actually going to fit perfectly inside those clear orange parts from the A plate. And so when you put those in, hopefully you're going to see not only the gold on the inside, and that should add to an interesting visual effect, but all these raised details here. This should really add a degree of realism to the Virsago, with its stretchy arms and its megasonic cannon really being the features, so having all the attention on the shoulders and chest is a pretty appropriate call here. As I was just saying with the strike shooters, you're going to have these gold stickers here, which are going to go onto the D gray plates and attach on. Again, it's just disappointing. Why doesn't that come in plastic when the option was there? But you are going to get a few bonuses. You're going to have these parts which are going to attach onto the waist armor and should add just a little bit of what would be yellow if this was an RX-78-2 kind of thing. But on the Virsago, they went with the gold all over the place. In the middle of the chest where you have a black piece underneath the gold and orange clear parts, you're going to have this part here, the red seal in the middle and 2 little red ones on the side. Having those in such a noticeable place is probably going to be a little bit detrimental, but hopefully the color is going to match at least. For the V-fin, you should have this part here is probably going to cover this up very well. And it's cool that the Megasonic Cannon is going to have a blinding glare there, so that when he opens up his chest and gets ready to fire, then it's going to happen in a shiny manner, along with a really big eye sticker, much more big than you'll see on almost any Gundam, even in 1/100th it seems. So the plates are a lot of fun, and it's just cool to see that they're already getting ahead with doing multiple parts for the similar things with the identical C plates. Great to see the gold, could have been more, and that B plate with 4 colors, especially these orange ones, intrigue me and just make me want to put this kit together all the sooner. The manual is somewhere in between a high-grade Universal Century and a Master Grade 1, not quite a full book like you'd expect, but here you can see that it's got a height of 17.8 meters, which is pretty cool. Some of the Gundams from the 90s were a little small, but this one is sort of bucking that trend. Looking good there, and then you're going to have some shots from the anime where he really was. Love him or hate him, the Frost Brothers were certainly memorable as villains, and there you can see the man, the myth, the legend, the annoying guy himself down there. There's the plates as you've seen them all laid out, and when you get inside you'll just notice how much white there is all over the place. Very easy to follow the directions, and you're going to have to put on a fair number of seals as you've already seen. When you get to the back, you're going to flip open the back page, and it's going to give you those instructions, yes, on how to swing the wings back. You don't think you really need that. But you can open up the chest, open up the wings, bring out the arms, and put in the strike shooters, and everything's going to look pretty cool. Before moving on to the back for the same promotional images we've already seen, and you've got a color guide for painting on the back, and the guy standing there looking away haughtily. I'm going to cheat ahead here a little bit though, and when you're putting the feet together, please be very careful. I would recommend putting the opposite feet onto the opposite parts here. You can see that there's a pole that sticks up over here, which seems to be on the outside. I'm going to tell you right now that it's probably best to switch the 2 feet around, otherwise you're going to have no problem, or you're going to have nothing but problems having this guy stand up and trying to have flat feet. So from the unbox alone, I'm already pretty happy with this. It's got lots of clear parts. The gold effect parts, well, some people love them, some people hate them, but it's still better to have them, I think. Not too many lines to put all over the place, not as bad as the X it seems, although it is very 90s-ish. The manual looks easy to follow, so I look forward to putting this together, and I hope you do as well, so stay tuned for the next part, where you'll see all of the parts put together. Anyway, everybody, Robert184, Gundam.tk, thanks for checking this out. See you next time. What's up again, everybody? Robert184, Gundam.tk, and I'm here to finish up my look at Master Grade Figure Eyes Monkey D. Luffy, piloted by Shaggy Frost with his Gomu Gomu no strike pistols.